We're interrupting your regularly scheduled programming right now for breaking news.
Yeah, let's go to Palm Beach Gardens PD right now, where we are expecting to get an update any moment now on the Ryan Rogers case. Let's listen in.
Marshall's here. They want to come on?
I don't think the marshals want to.
No?
I don't think so.
Okay. Hi, you all ready? Okay. Good morning. First of all, I want to thank everybody for showing up this morning on this incredibly important case for Palm Beach Gardens Police Department. My name is Clint Shannon, and I'm the Chief of Police for the City of Palm Beach Gardens. I want to introduce Jennifer Brashear, she is the lead investigator in this homicide case for the Palm Beach Gardens Police Department. I also want to introduce our partner agencies who assisted us and played an integral role in this investigation. First of all, from the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office, we have Major Massery, Lab Director Dustin Yeatman, and DNA Manager Julie Sikorsky. Thank you for being here. From Miami-Dade Police Department, Cold Case Homicide Squad, Detective Jonathan Grossman, Detective David Denmark, Detective Chris Thomas, and Sergeant Michael Scott. Also with us in the crowd is U.S. Marshals, Assistant Chief Inspector Miguel Lopez, and Senior Inspector Sean Sandler. Also from my investigative unit, I have Major Ed Guillen and Sergeants Todd Grossman and Anton Franks. Thank you again. First, we want to express our deepest sympathies and condolences to the Rogers family. They are experiencing an unthinkable tragedy and have experienced an unimaginable loss. I met with them this morning and made sure that they knew we stand beside them through all of this, and we will continue to. Several dozen officers, detectives, crime scene personnel, lab specialists, and many others have worked tirelessly around the clock for the past 2 weeks to bring closure to this homicide case. This investigation has been extremely challenging from the beginning. Since Tuesday, November 16th, our investigators have received and followed up on numerous phone calls and other tips. Through their diligent work, our community support, we're able to discover key pieces of evidence and develop probable cause for the arrest of Simi Lee Williams. His date of birth is 7/18/1982. He's 39 years old. He was taken into custody last night in Miami for the charge of first-degree murder. He appears to be a homeless drifter spending most of his time in the streets of Miami. I want to go over a little bit, and I'll provide copies of his criminal history. Starting from most recent, in 2016, he was arrested for aggravated assault with strangulation by the Fulton County, Georgia Police Department. Also in 2016, he was a fugitive from justice and arrested on a warrant in San Diego, California. In 2014, he was arrested for battery on a person 65 years of age or older in Atlanta, Georgia. In 2007, he was arrested in Seminole, Florida for failure to appear. In 2006, he was arrested for violation of an injunction on a battery case and failure to appear in Sanford, Florida. In 2005, he was arrested on a protective order for domestic violence in Seminole County, Florida. In 2005, he was arrested for probation violation in Seminole County, Florida. In 2005, he was arrested for violation of an injunction in Sanford, Florida. In 2004, for petty theft in Sanford, Florida. And 2004, for carrying a concealed electric weapon in Sanford, Florida. The incident itself appears to be a completely random act. We do not have a motive in this case, and I would best describe it as an innocent child victim having a chance encounter with a very violent criminal. With that being said, I also want to go in and discuss some of the non-release of information that the Palm Beach Gardens Police Department has held back over the past 2 weeks. The Palm Beach Gardens Police Department had a well-founded concern with releasing information that would harm the integrity of this investigation and possibly hinder our ability to solve this homicide case. There's some information that has been disseminated, has been inaccurate or based solely on speculation by so-called experts that have absolutely no direct knowledge and have not been involved in our investigation whatsoever. While we understand the public's concern and the desire to know what happened, it is outweighed by the need to solve this case so we can protect the public. I wanted to mention the outpouring of support that we have gotten. And especially through Crime Stoppers, we had not gone public because we got to the point where the investigation was moving very rapidly. But a special thanks to Sheriff Rick Bradshaw. He called me the other night. They immediately pledged $25,000 toward the reward money with Crime Stoppers, along with various other community groups, the Palm Beach Gardens Police and Fire Rescue Foundation, athletic associations, and citizens that drove the total reward amount to over $50,000. Our community in Palm Beach Gardens, the support for our police department and for law enforcement continues to be absolutely amazing. That's the only way I can describe it. We also received incredible support from the agencies that stand here together with us. Again, special thanks to Sheriff Bradshaw and Chief Frank DeMario from the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office and their incredible staff that's here today who played an amazing role in solving this case. Also, I want to personally thank Miami-Dade Police Department Assistant Director George Perez and the members of the Cold Case Squad that are here today. They literally dropped what they were doing and rolled out the red carpet to assist us. And their assistance was, again, absolutely amazing. The U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force, and they're here. They continue to be a partner with us, adopting cases. Again, incredible. And I also wanted to point out, they could not be here this morning, but the Palm Beach State Attorney's Office, State Attorney Dave Ehrenberg and Assistant State Attorneys Reed Scott and Alethea McRoberts, they've been our partners every step along the way with this case, and will continue. I want to point out a couple things also. Palm Beach Gardens continues to be a very safe city with a very low crime rate. This just emphasizes the fact that an incident of this nature could absolutely happen anywhere. You know, people need to always be vigilant and aware of their surroundings wherever they are. I must say, I could not be prouder of the professional men and women who completely dedicated themselves to bring closure to this case. They brought some answers to the family, and they removed a very dangerous monster from our streets. We will answer a few questions, but I want to emphasize we're not going to discuss specific evidence. This investigation is ongoing. Although an arrest has been made, this investigation is not nearly over. Our detectives are actively investigating this case, and the release of specific information could still compromise some evidence in this case. So again, I'm not going to directly answer any questions regarding evidence in this case. I will take a few questions if anybody has any.
Catherine Coco from the Palm Beach Post. Does this man have any ties to Palm Beach Gardens? Do you have any idea what he's doing in the area?
He has no ties that we can determine to Palm Beach Gardens or to Palm Beach County. None whatsoever. It's a mystery to us why this man was in our community. But again, we have evidence that places him on the scene and makes him responsible for the murder of this child.
Chief, can you offer any timeline from when you guys locked in on this suspect?
I don't want to go into that.
Say how he died. What's the cause of death?
I will discuss. I'm not going to go into detail, but Ryan Rogers was stabbed to death.
Chief, can you elaborate on the encounter between Ryan and the suspect? How this happened?
I can't, other than saying it appears to be an absolute chance encounter between a child on a bicycle and an animal that probably should not be out on our streets.
Chief, you just read Mr. Williams' rap sheet to us. Do you believe he should have been out on the streets, or should he have been locked up?
People can draw their own conclusion on that.
Chief,
Can you tell us anything?
Is he the only one responsible?
We do not have any information that anybody else is responsible.
Is anybody going to be collecting the reward? You just say it's now over $50,000.
No, not at this point.
Have you had any previous encounters with him?
We have not.
Chief, can you tell us anything about him? You're calling him a vagrant. Did he have an address at all? Who was supporting him? How did he have the phone?
We're still working on that. That's still part of the investigation. We do not have an address on him, and that's the only way I can describe him right now. He appears to be a homeless drifter. He has spent most of his time on the streets of Miami.
Did he confess to what he did?
I'm not going to discuss that.
And does he walk? What does this mean to transport from Miami?
Various means of transportation, and we're still working on that also.
Was he living in the woods? Do you have any idea how long?
We don't have any information to that.
Chief,
How
can you
did
say
you
if the
find?
crime
How did
happened?
you find Ryan's body? What condition was he in, or can you?
I'm not. With respect to the family, I really don't want to go into that.
What was the way the crime happened on Central Boulevard where he was found, or possibly somewhere else?
It appears to have happened where his body was found, and again, he was stabbed.
Can you detail if you used social media to help track him down in Miami, including YouTube?
Yeah, I'm not going to discuss that. I'm not going to discuss that. There's been a lot of misinformation that's been put out on social media on this case. One of the things we even became concerned about, there was even some suspicion pointed toward the parents in this case. And I got to tell you, the parents have been nothing other than forthright and cooperative with us. Again, I met with them this morning. We can't even imagine what they're going through right now, but we stand beside them, and we're going to continue to support them throughout this process with any way that we can.
Can you share some of that meeting with the parents this morning, what you told them? A
No,
little bit of what
private.
Early in this investigation, there were some concerns about a person in the area wearing a mask. Do you have any reason to think that this is connected to this man?
We did put out an official statement from our department that indicated that we investigated a couple of those incidents, and they have had absolutely no ties to this case.
Chief, we know that this case has such a huge impact on this community. Can you talk about the importance of this day and the importance of such a big break in getting someone in custody?
That's why I made the comment I could not be prouder of the men and women. Some of these people that are standing behind me, with me, and in the crowd are some of the best that our profession has to offer. They worked tirelessly, nonstop. Many of us, I can't tell you when any of us had any sleep lately. Their efforts solved this case, and I cannot be any prouder of the people. I've been in this business for almost 43 years, and this is a shining moment when I look at my personnel and everybody standing up here. They're rock stars.
Do you have any reason to
Chief,
believe
you
that
have
they're
DNA
all
lab
random
people
acts
here.
By a monster, to use your words. Should there have been more of a warning to the public?
Again, we put out what we felt was necessary to protect the public. We were working on investigative leads. We're not going to compromise the case.
Was he
Why
involved
did
in any
Mom
of the
say it was
crimes?
a bicycle accident? Why was that Facebook post published?
I can't speak for Mom.
Do you have any reason to believe he was involved in any other crimes or could be tied to any other crimes?
That's going to be part of the ongoing investigation, absolutely.
Chief, you have your DNA people here giving them some congratulations. Was DNA essential?
I'm not going to discuss the evidence.
And Chief, are you not elaborating on as to what brought him here, why he was here? Was he visiting somebody?
We don't know. Again, that's going to be part of further investigation in this case. We don't have any ties of putting him to Palm Beach Gardens or to Palm Beach County
How long has he been on your radar, Chief?
during this investigation.
All right, we're going to hand stuff out to you all here. Just like the chief discussed, we have the criminal history information that we're going to share with you all. Thank you all for coming.
And we just got an update from Palm Beach Gardens PD right there. You see a mass of authorities. You see 14-year-old Ryan Rogers' photo on one end. The suspect, Simi Williams, 39 years old, his photo on the other end. And the police chief there, Clint Shannon, saying that Ryan Rogers was stabbed to death in what he said was a completely random act.
Yes, Williams, they're calling him a homeless drifter in Miami. They don't have an address for this man. In addition to being a completely random act, the exact words that Chief Shannon said was, this was an innocent child victim having a chance encounter with a very violent criminal.
With no ties, this suspect, as we heard from the police chief, no ties to our area, no ties to Palm Beach County. He said he spends most of his time in the Miami area. We also learned a lot about his criminal history. I mean, the list went on and on as the police chief rattled it off. Aggravated assault in Georgia, a fugitive, a warrant as a fugitive in California. As we're looking at his new mugshot right now, this is 39-year-old Simi Williams. The list goes on. Battery of an elderly person in Georgia. There were a number of Florida cases, too, that included domestic violence cases and theft.
Over the course of the last 20 years, and Chief Shannon saying in no certain words that this man should not have been on the street.
And you heard a number of questions right there in that news conference, some of them coming from our Mike Magnoli. He's standing by live. Mike, you just heard from the Palm Beach Gardens police chief, as we all did here. We carried it live. What are your takeaways after hearing that update?
Well, just a horrible and horrifying situation to hear the chief describe this as a random act where a teenager leaves on his bicycle and encounters this dangerous monster, the chief's words. A couple of questions that I put to the chief that he was not willing to answer. He says there's still some investigative things that need to be buttoned up. I asked about the murder weapon, was told he would not answer that, although we now know that the cause of death was a stabbing. Absolutely brutal and horrifying for parents in this community. You guys were touching on the criminal history of the suspect who's in custody. Just to recap, we know that he has ties to Seminole County, to Georgia. At one point he was in San Diego. He was picked up in Miami-Dade County last night. Didn't exactly get a sense from the chief in this press conference how they connected the dots, how they found this suspect, and what piece of evidence sort of led them to him. So that is still something that is hanging on this. But as you heard in that press conference, in the question and answer session, we also put it to the chief, should there have been more of a warning to the public? Because there was so much interest and concern on this case, and for a long time there was sort of just a little bit of trickle of information. We weren't getting much in the way of details, so a lot of folks were very concerned about letting their kids go out. At one point during this whole thing, the police department said, be vigilant, talk to your kids, but there wasn't a lot of specifics about what you should be talking about or what they should be vigilant about. But from everything we're gathering at this press conference, this is a homeless drifter. The kid went out on his bicycle, bumped into him, wrong place, wrong time. Absolutely horrible situation here. Matt,
all right,
Ashley.
Mike. Yeah, and the police chief also went out of his way to say multiple times that part of the reason, for not releasing, certain details, one, it's still an ongoing case. This investigation is far from over, even though they've made an arrest. And two, in part to fight off a lot of the speculation, a lot of the misinformation that's been circulating on social media.
Yeah, also doubling down on the randomness of all this, Mike, that not just was the act itself random, but seemingly why Simi Williams was even in Palm Beach Gardens was random. He doesn't have any ties to the area. He spends most of his time in Miami. And Mike, right now there's no reason that the police know of why he was even on that street on that night.
And I don't know if you heard the question I asked. I was asking about other suspects. Sometimes these homeless drifters live in camps. Sometimes they travel in packs. So I was wondering if maybe there are other people out there. The chief says to his knowledge, this is the only suspect responsible for this death.
All right, Mike, I want you to stand by there. I know authorities are handing out some information to you. We might come back to you in just a minute, but at the same time we were, hearing that news conference, we are expecting that an arraignment will take place in a courtroom. Our crews are standing by there live as well.
We're going to be getting out there live in a moment. What is also struck by what Chief Shannon said, he went out to say Palm Beach Gardens is still a very safe community. It just goes to show you that something like this can happen literally anywhere. If it can happen in Palm Beach Gardens, a random homeless drifter killing a 14-year-old boy, allegedly, then it could happen anywhere.
Yeah, you could hear, the room, the area kind of pause as we did when the chief said completely random act. I want to go to our Madeline Montgomery right now. As I said, she's standing by live at the courthouse, where we do expect that 39-year-old Simi Williams will be making a first court appearance if he hasn't already. Maddie, update us.
Ashley, we just had that first appearance in court, and Simi was not actually inside of the courtroom, and they said that's because of medical reasons. So we do have video of him through Zoom talking to the court, and he is charged with first-degree murder, and the judge says he is obviously getting no bond because of that charge. And Simi did try to make a statement several times while he was on that video, but the judge and his attorney kept warning him that there was no need for him to make a statement at this time. And just doing a quick Google of Simi and going on to YouTube, you can see that this man is very paranoid on his YouTube page. He talks a lot about how he feels that he's being stalked. He talks a lot about cults and being microchipped. So this man seems to be, very paranoid and maybe not in the right mental state. And that was kind of apparent, honestly, in this first appearance when he kept trying to interrupt the judge and kept trying to make a statement, even though legal counsel was advising him otherwise. So again, the first appearance is just the first time they, speak in front of a judge. But, we're still going to wait to hear more about if there are more charges coming and whether or not there's going to be anything else happening with bond. For now, live in West Palm Beach, Madeline Montgomery, CBS 12 News.
All right, Maddie, and those YouTube videos that Maddie just referenced, the police chief was asked about that in the news conference that just occurred moments ago, and the police chief said he's not going to talk about those videos, if they're a part of the investigation, to what extent. Again, they're still holding a lot of things close because this is an ongoing investigation.
But it is clear, we have taken a look at some of those YouTube videos that have been posted, that at least those videos seem to show someone who, like Maddie said, is paranoid, and it's certainly a lot of questions here too about, he's a homeless man, but he has a cell phone. He doesn't have a home, but he's found like in all these different places: Atlanta, San Diego, Sanford, Miami. There's a lot still to learn here about Simi Williams, who has been arrested here.
Yeah, and as the police chief said, there is a lot more to come. This investigation is far from over. If you're just joining us, we just got a big update from Palm Beach Gardens Police Chief Clint Shannon about the homicide investigation of 14-year-old Ryan Rogers of Palm Beach County. The police chief told us a lot about Simi Williams, the 39-year-old first-degree murder suspect, now in custody, a homeless drifter who spends a lot of time in the Miami area that, authorities said they don't know why he was in our community.
This was saying this is a chance encounter. We know Ryan Rogers was out that night. It was relatively dark, pretty dark there, right there on that street by the I-95 overpass, and he never came home. We do know that the cause of death was by stabbing.
Yeah, and in the process of this investigation, as we've been reporting it to you, bringing you the updates, there was, a reward that kept building in this case, and the police chief said, at this time, no one will be receiving that reward. The path to this arrest has not resulted in someone claiming that reward money. The police chief also said several times, their hearts, like so many of us, going out to the family this morning. The police chief talked to, the Rogers family just this morning, and he just couldn't say it enough how much he's feeling for this family as they're going through this unimaginable grief.
Yeah, and also what I found interesting too, he talked a lot about social media and sort of the part that social media has played here in the past couple of weeks. There's been a lot of people in our community that have wanted answers to what happened to Ryan, and the Palm Beach Gardens Police was telling them why they weren't providing many. Some they didn't have answers to the questions, and other answers they just did not want to put it out there because they were worried of how it would hamper the investigation. And unfortunately, in some cases, that made some rumors run wild on social media, and certainly Palm Beach Gardens Police Chief Clint Shannon just going out of his way to make sure that in instances like this, you just have to be patient. Police work takes time.
I want to go back to that video, too. You were just seeing it. It was a small memorial in the Alton neighborhood. This is near Ryan's home. Blue heart spray painted on the ground, a sign that reads "Justice for Ryan." You see these, red bows, these red ribbons, all along the area where Ryan, seemingly spent his final moments. Flowers, a teddy bear. Ryan was a freshman at Dwyer High School and a soccer player.
And we've got a lot more here online on our web, our news app right here, CBS 12 News. You can search for it to download. Also WPEC, it is in your app store.
And join us for more updates on CBS 12 News at noon. And as Matt said, we'll continue to post updates at CBS12.com. We're going to return you to regular programming now.